So I'm going to show everybody here, this is a job in St. Clair Shores I'm working on, and something I do when I'm doing steps. And everybody, a lot of people are really picky nowadays the way they want their wood floor to look like. So in trying to make the floor look consistent, or to make the wood to look consistent, how you got like light and dark areas, which is, I actually put the brush on there. I was trying to dry brush that, but I'll get to that later. But you got light and dark boards on this stairway, and to me, that's the beauty of wood. So, but for some people, for some reason, they are just not accepting that. So one way of trying to get rid of that on mostly a stairway is what I do is I brush the stain on, like most of the times, or you can wipe it on. It's up to you. And you watch here. Brush your stain on. I've already went over this floor. I've already sanded these steps. This is the second time I've sanded these steps, just because these people are just really hard to work with. But that's fine. I'm just trying to do the best I can. So what I wipe, put the stain on here. I'm going to do these first two steps and show everybody what you can do. Try to make this look more consistent. I'm sure you probably already know where this video is heading, but I'm trying to hold this phone with the one hand and brush it on with the other. So this job is quite large, about 1,100 square feet of wood floor. Plus I did the risers, the stringers. You can see I did everything. I did the risers and the stringers on this job. Obviously they're going to paint the risers and stringers. That's why the stain is all over all over the place. So I've already stained those, and these actually come out pretty consistent. That one and that one looks pretty consistent. You know, you're always going to see some variations though in the wood. This is white oak. Even though it's white oak, I mean, you're still seeing dark and light boards. The lighting is causing it to look yellow, but same thing here. I mean, look at that strip in there. It's nature. But to try to stop that from happening, you can actually doctor up the color. See, that's a dark or a light board there. So what I'm going to do is pull extra stain on that. And then what I do is I take a dry brush. This was a clean dry brush. And I dry it. And you can actually dry brush the stain to make the floor look more uniform. Yeah, I don't know. Grain, the grain is, yeah, you can see there. So yeah, let that dry a little bit, and you could see it's just a touch darker. Actually, over here it's a little bit too dark. So I'm just using a semi-wet brush. A real good one though. This one's the made in Turkey. Very good brush. About $13 or $16 brush. So make sure you get a good brush that's got a lot of bristles, a lot of natural bristle. So anyway, so I got these two steps. They had a chance to dry. So what I do is I take your rag and you wipe it down. Wipe the stain down. So that's going to bring out the beauty of the wood, but also it is going to show up the light boards. When you wipe it down, it's going to show the dark boards as well as the light boards. So this step actually is very consistent in color, so it doesn't apply. You can see that board is very consistent in color. So there's no reason to do anything to that stair tread. You can't do that with the wood floor. As you can see, there's a lot of variations in the wood floor, so I'm going to have my hands full and probably argue with the customer till I'm blue in the face. But so that's life. Not much you can do about it. So yeah, here's this next step here. So I'm wiping it down with my rag. Rag's actually getting soaked or starting to absorb too much stain. So anyway, so yeah, you see that. So what I do is I put a little stain. So this middle board is a little lighter. So what I can do is I can try to hit just the middle board, which is really difficult to do. But kind of like try to put more stain on the middle board than the rest. Almost like brushing the stain on and leaving it. So I don't know if that probably shows a little bit more consistent. Some boards are really difficult because they're just so light, and these people nowadays are just so hard to deal with, especially the engineers. I hate to say it. Engineers and pattern makers, and so see, there's the one I stained extra, put a little extra stain, so that seems to help a little, but you can't hardly fool nature. And there's the one I just did, so that looks good, that looks acceptable. It's really hard. There's only so much you can only fool nature so much. So yeah, that's what you do. You can basically, like they call it dry brushing, and that you can't get a much better stair tread than that. It's actually a shadow over there, but anyway, yeah, that's it. So that step looks good. This one's so-so. Still got a light streak right in there. But these people are just, like I said, engineers, retired engineers, whatever, they're really difficult. So this is a darn good stair tread job. So anyway, that's how you do it. So let's do this one here. Well, I got the phone still recording. This one's really a real challenging one because you got two dark ones and a light one. So what you're going to do, like I said, put your stain on there. Lay your stain on there. Now you can't do this on the floor area. It'd be utterly impossible. But stairway, everybody looks at the stairways. It's like the focal point of the job. Yeah, the first time around I just wiped the stain on, wiped it off, you know, nice and dry, and obviously he didn't like it. And I just like bit my tongue and said, well, you know, I guess I'll redo it and try to do better next time. So let me get another rag here. Get a rag. Oops. Not a very good rag, but something to start out with. So this is going to show the light and dark boards, and that, to me, I mean, that's beautiful. You want to show the light and dark boards. That's what the beauty of wood is. So, and to me, that's a beautiful looking step. But you could still see you got two darks and one light. So the only way you could do that is take your semi-dry brush. I'm actually dabbing a little bit of stain on there and trying to lay in some more stain here on the light board. Try to make that board lighter. I mean, try to make it darker. So go with the grain. There you go. So that looks more consistent now. That's about the best you can do with nature. Try to fool nature. So there's a perfect example right there. These two boards were darker, and then this one across here was light. So like I said, I brush the whole thing, wipe it down, and then try to brush in just this one right here, applying stain just to this light strip there to make it look more consistent. So that's what you do. And been doing this. Oh, you photobombed my video. Don't you just hate that? Anyway, so yeah, these are all done. Hopefully, Mr. Retired Engineer will be happy. His wife is not much better. She's a picky person. I don't know why these people are so picky. They want everything to look like a piece of furniture, and it isn't possible to do that. So there you go. That step definitely doesn't have many variations in it. So I can't do much about this one. That one's just way too porous. There's not much you could do about that one. That one, not too bad. There's a dark one there, but they're gonna have to live with it. And as you can see, I'll show you the rest of this job. This is like I said, a house in St. Clair Shores. I showed them all the different color stains right there. They're going to go with this one right here. It's a espresso stain. I think it's called espresso. Yeah. So